Hello everyone, welcome back to the session. So in the previous session we have seen what is the use case, how the use case diagram can be drawn. So what are the use cases we have to consider in order to draw the use case diagram. And also we have seen apart from the use case we can also take the activity diagrams. So what is the activity diagram? We see in that part. Okay, so again I will explain the activity diagram. So in this activity diagram, so this is the activity diagram. So in this activity diagram, whatever the symbols you take in the flow chart. So flow chart designing, I think everyone has known about the flow chart. So flow chart, how you people draw, like that only this activity diagram will be there. But the main thing is, here we will not use any rectangular shapes. We will use only the rounded rectangles. So this symbol is called as a rounded rectangles. So whatever the insert card is there, this is a rounded rectangle. Okay. So the shape is called rounded rectangle. So the starting point is some rounded circle, filled circle. So we will use the arrows from one part to the another one. So first is the insert card. How the ATM mission. Okay. So activity diagram for ATM. So first we will insert the card. So after inserting, what it will ask? It will ask the password. So we will enter the password. Okay. After entering the password, we have the two conditions over there. What are they? Yes or no. So whether the password is correct or not, whether the password is correct or wrong. So for the decision making, we have to take the another shape, that is the rhombus. So this is for decision making, whether it is correct or not. So in order to take the decision, so that is represented in the form of the rhombus. Okay. So after entering the password, it will go on for the decision making the rhombus shape. So here they will take, okay, whether the password is accepted, that means password is right, then you will go for the next step of the transaction. If the password, whatever the password is given the wrong, whatever it will, what it do, again it will ask the enter the pin, enter the password. So if the password is accepted, you have to go for the select type of transactions. You will have some different types of transactions. What are the type of transactions? Maybe it may be like cash withdrawal or mini statement or changing of the password or changing of the pin, whatever it is. So different types of the transactions are there with the ATM. Okay. So with that we have to go for the select type of the transaction. So after selecting the type of transaction, we will perform the transaction, whatever it may be. Either it cash withdrawal or mini statement, whatever it is. So after performing the transaction, what are the transactions you did with the ATM? So again it will go for some decision making. For what? So whether you want to continue for another transaction or you want to leave the ATM mission. It will ask or not? Yes, it will ask. So if people are regularly interacting with the ATM mission, you people are able to know what is what. Okay. So if you are not interested to make the another transaction, then it will ask for the take the card. Or else if you want to do some more transactions, so it will ask, again it will go for the select type of the transaction. Okay. So this is the activity diagram. So the use case diagram, this is the activity diagram. Both are the different one. Okay. So and next coming to the swimline diagrams. So swimline diagrams, what are the swimline diagrams? We have seen the use case activity. Now we are going for the swimline diagrams. What are those? So the UML swimline diagrams is a useful variation of the activity diagram and allows you to represent the flow of activities described by the use case and at the same time indicate where the actor or analysis class has to responsible for the action described by an activity rectangle. So previously we have seen the activity diagram. So what an activity diagram did? So we have given the some of the transactions. If you want to do some more, what we can say, some more flow of activities. So in order to represent, so that is the ATM for the small. So for small transaction we did the activity diagram like that. So if you have the more test steps, okay, more activities and more tasks you want to perform with anything, with any system. So then the activity diagram will be modified to the swimlane diagram. So swimlane diagram is also one part of the activity diagram. But in swimlane diagram, what it is? So it is divided the activity diagram into some parts. What are that? Let us see. Okay. So responsibilities are represented as parallel segments that divide the diagram vertically like the lines in the swimming pool. So in your swimming pool, if you see in the swimming pool, so you will have some lines. So the lines. So according to that lines only the participants has to swim. So when there is a conduction for the what we can say sports like that. So this activity diagram also is divided into some parallel segments. So for the responsibilities, so in order to represent this responsibilities, the activity diagram will divide it into some parallel segments. So that parallel segments are called as a swim lane. So that's why it is called as a swim lane diagrams. So swim lane diagrams is also a part of an activity diagram. But in this swim lane diagram, the activities, the way of responsibilities are represented in the form of a parallel segments. Okay, so that is the difference between the activity and swim lane diagram. So this is a swim lane diagram. So this is also activity. We can call also activity diagram with the swim lanes. Activity diagram with the swim lanes is like this. Only activity diagram is whatever I explained previously. That is the activity diagram. Okay. So I think it's clear for everyone. So what is swim lane? We said that in swim lane the responsibilities will divide into parallel segments. So in ATM machine. So when we interact here, the example is given the ATM machine. That's why I am explaining the ATM machine. So in ATM machine, who are interacting? So first user, customer. Next one is ATM machine. So whatever the transactions we are doing with the ATM machine, that is also will change in the bank because the database will be held with the bank. So without the bank, the ATM will not work. Okay. So you must have a bank account. That means bank is also responsible whatever the transactions we are doing with the ATM machine. So that's why. So the responsibilities. So here ATM machine while interacting by the customer. So it has a 3 responsibilities. What are they? First one is the customer. See here. So first one is the customer. And second one is the ATM machine. So second one is ATM machine. First one is the customer. Second one is the ATM machine. And thirdly the bank. So 3 responsibilities I am including here. So whatever the previous diagram, there is a small diagram, activity diagram, what are the transactions we just do with the ATM machine. So but actually when we are interacting with the ATM machine, we have the 3 responsibilities. One is by the customer, one is by the ATM machine, one is by the bank. So 3 members will include in that. Okay. So the first part, see the dots, whatever the dots here represented. So these dots are called swim lane. Swim lane. See here, swim lane. So one represents the swim lane. So the dotted lines, whatever here there, the dotted lines, whatever they are representing here. So those are called as a swim lanes. Okay. And next one is the start. So second point. What is the second point? Is the start. Start is the rounded symbol. So the diagram is similarly to the activity diagram. Only the difference is we represent all the customers who are, all the participants who are including for the transaction. So what are the system? One system if you are interacting means not only the system and user. So backend also there will be one thing. Okay. So here ATM machine means bank is the backend. So first we start the from here. So what we do? First we insert the card. The same things. Whatever. So for next we enter the pin. So whatever the pin we entered, so whether it is right or wrong, who will authorize? The machine will not authorize. It seems that the machine will authorize, but actually the process is it will go for the bank because the database, whatever the database we have. So where you open the account with the bank. So whatever the fields you have, that means Aadhaar card, PAN card, ATM, whatever it is, everything will be linked with the bank. So the database, that means the data of you will be stored in the bank database. So that's why. So after entering the PIN, it will go for the authorize. So who will authorize? Bank. Bank means virtually it will take for by the database. Okay. So here the authorization, how it will do? Here the decision making will be there. So rhombus. Okay. So if it is a valid PIN, again go for the customer. So what it give? Enter the amount. If it is an invalid pin, so whatever the pin they entered is an invalid one, then in the database itself, it will go for the some lost over the here. Why it came here, I will tell later. So don't get confused. So first we will go for the valid part, invalid part we will see later. Okay. So fifth step. So fifth step is a validation. So enter the amount. So we are giving the valid pin. So whatever the pin we entered, that is a valid one. So it asks for the enter the amount. So here the enter amount will be given by the user, customer. That's why it came to the enter the amount. Okay. So when he entered the amount, then it will again go for the. So the ATM machine has to check the balance. Where? In the bank. So in the bank database. So it will check in the bank database. So if the balance, what are the amount you have given here? So that will check by the bank account. So if the balance is greater than or equal to amount, so then it will again go for customer. Okay. So here you have this fork. Fork is nothing but joining of the two. So fork here in this diagram you will have the two different words. One is a streamline and next one is the fork. So which is some rectangular shape which is filled by some color. Okay. So this fork is nothing but a fork. Say here a fork. So that is nothing but which is combined. See here we don't have some link between these two. So that's why this fork we will use. So this fork will combine these two. So the transaction, there is running in the customer side. So after by using the fork, then it will take amount from slot or the next we will go for the debit account. So whatever the amount you are withdrawing, it has to be debited in the bank. Okay. So after debiting, it will again come to the take the amount. Here we use some joint, this fork. Why we used? Because ATM machine. So it has to do some task. What are the tasks? So after debiting the amount, so whether the amount has taken or not. So after that it has to show the balance. So here there is some decision. So what is the amount we are debited? So the debited has to be shown to the user or not. Decision making. So we have to show the balance. So after showing, so again there is some decision. So asset to the card or to make any more transactions. So the invalid pin, whatever the invalid pin, so that means password. So that will come over here. Okay. So in this invalid pin, so if the pin is invalid, if you want to do the more transactions, then it will go. Or else you can exit the card. So if you exit the card, this exiting of the card will be done by the ATM machine, not by the bank. So who will take the card? Customer will take the card. And last, there is some stop button. This is a stop button. So in this is stop, that means end. This stop button is with a rounded circle filled one with rounded circle. Okay, so that is the difference between the start and end points. Okay, so see here they have given us some descriptions. One is the swim lane. Number two is the start. Number three is the activity. So rounded rectangle, that is the activity. Number 4, transition. So transition is nothing but the when we enter the pin number, the fourth one what we are doing, ATM machine will go for the bank details. Database. We can say that database. It went for the database. Okay. So that is a transition. Fifth one is a branch. So where is fifth? Yes. Here is the branch. Fifth. So in order to authorize the pin. And next, sixth one, God expression. So where is the sixth one? So we have the sixth. So God expression is nothing but it is not invalid. It is saying some security. Okay. And next, seventh one is the fork. So this rounded rectangle, rectangle with the filled rectangle. So that is the seventh. That is called as a fork. Number 8. 8th is a join. So 8th is join. Here also we use the some So this fork, whatever the fork we are saying, that one can be used both as a jointer and fork. So this jointer, so what is it is jointing both the customer and bank details, it is jointing, so that's why it is called as a jointer. Okay, and next ninth one is a merge. So here it is dividing, merging means combining. So what it is combining, so it is taking the that means this decision is making the some merge. And last 10th point is the end point. So end point. So this is the activity. The full form of the activity diagram is this. Okay. So for ATM machine, this is the activity diagram. And next, coming to the data modeling concepts. So up to now we have seen the what are the UML diagrams, what we will use for the modeling. So what are the data modeling concepts? So why data we are modeling? So we have seen that requirements modeling, that scenario based data models, everything. So apart from scenario based, we complete the scenario based up to now. Now we are going for the data model. Okay. So in scenario model, we have the use cases and activity diagrams. That's why we have seen those. Now we are going for the data modeling. So data modeling is the process of documenting a complex software system. So designed as an easily understand diagram using the text and symbols to represent the way data needs to flow. So data modeling concepts is nothing but, so for example, material, whatever the material I am giving to you, that is some data model. Because whatever the data, what are the system they are preparing, they are noting the each and every point. So what are the design they are doing, they are noting the each and every diagram. Okay. So the diagram can be used as a blueprint. So we can say that as a blueprint for the construction of new software or for re-engineering legacy applications. So legacy means old programs. So these diagrams, what are the diagrams we are using in the document? Those diagrams will be used as a blueprint. So blueprint is nothing but like a, so in order to construct some building, you will take some architecture, give some model, okay, they will give some print, so that is called as a blueprint. So basing upon that blueprint, the construction of new software, so whether to construct the new software or re-engineer the legacy applications or already existed software, already having the old programs, in order to re-engineer, that means in order to give some modifications to that. So that is a data model. And next, the mostly widely used data model by the software engineers is entity relationship diagram. So entity relationship diagram. So if you have the course of database management system, so in the database management system, in order to represent the backend database, so how the data will be stored. So you people are interacting with the different websites. Okay, so you will give the username and password, login credentials. So you are giving the username and password, login credentials when logging to the system. I mean not a system, website. So how it is giving the how it is going for the home page after giving the username and password and clicking the login button. So what are the credentials while sign up? What are the credentials you are giving to the system, to the website? That website are storing those data in some backend in database. So in the form of some tables. Okay. So when you enter your username and password after clicking the login, this login button will interact with the database tables and take the username and password and check whether those are the correct or not. If it is correct, then it will go for the home page of yours, or else it will give the wrong credentials like that. Okay. So in order to design those data models, that means in order to design those tables in the backend, the database, we will use the entity relationship diagram. Okay, so that is called as a ERD. So entity is nothing but object. So relation diagram. So how the objects are interrelated, how the objects are connected. So the diagram is called as a entity relationship diagram. It addresses the issues and represents all the data objects that are entered, stored, transformed and produced within the application. So what are the objects? Objects are nothing but what are the things that are implemented in the system, software. So in this entity relationship, the issues and represents, it addresses the issues and represents between all data objects, whatever the objects we have defined over there. That means whether it is a class or whether it is a function or whether it is some variables, whatever the things we have represented in that. So what is the relation between them? What we are entered, what they are stored, and what they are transformed, and what they are producing within an application. Within an application. Okay, so this is a data model. So what is data objects? We have said that data objects. So data objects, we have in entity relationship, we have seen the data objects relationship. What is a data object? Let us see the meaning. So data object is a representation of composite information that must be understood by the software. A data object can be an external entity. Example, anything that produces or consumes information. So I said the object. What is meant by object? A real world entity. So object is nothing but a real world entity. Okay, in this real world entity is nothing but something. Okay, so what we can say, that is maybe external or internal. So for example, first one is a thing. It can be a thing. That means it may be a report, it may be some displaying some message, that can be an object. An occurrence. Second one is an occurrence. Example, telephone call. So that is also one entity. Okay, or event. Event. Example, an alarm. So event is nothing but like some action is going on over there. That is an event. A role. So next one is a role. Example, salesperson or computer programmer, software engineer or teacher, whatever it is, some role. An organizational unit. And next one is an organizational unit. Example, accounting department. So in organizations you have so many of departments. So in our engineering, let us say in our college. So in our college also we have so many of the departments. So what are those? CSE, ECE, IT, mechanical, civil, AAA, BT, if more. Okay. So like that, departments. So or a place. We can also say place. Place means nothing but some place, whatever the place it is. Or a structure. So next one is structure. So structure is nothing but like a file or a table or a pen, whatever it is. So we can represent the data. We can represent a data object can any of all these. Okay, a data object can be an external entity. So external entity is nothing but so whatever they are giving, we are giving some action on that. So for example, login. So login, when you pressing over there. So login. When you clicking on the login button, what it is doing? Some external entity. Okay, that is anything that produces or consumes information. So in the login button, what you are doing? You are giving some information by using your credentials. Or a thing, it should be a thing. Or it should be an occurrence. Or it should be an event. Or it should be a role. Or it should be an organizational unit. Or it should be a place or a structure. So this is a data object. So for example, so here we are saying some example. For example, a person or car can be viewed as a data object in the sense. So car is also an object. So that is also a data object. What is what? Let us see in the example. Okay, the data can be defined in terms of set of attributes. So attributes are nothing but some functions. So the description of the data object incorporates the data object and all of its attributes. So let us see, that is in a diagrammatic way. See, this is the diagrammatic way of the data object. We said this car. See, car is some data object. So what are the attributes for that? So what are the attributes is nothing but so name. So we have the different names, models, car model names like Audi, BMW or Maruti. So that is a one attribute. Okay, so these are the attributes, make, model, ID. So up to this, some of the attributes, naming attributes. Okay, So ID. So by using ID, we can identify the thing. For example, you people, so many of the students are studying over here. So what is why we are giving the ID to you people? So to recognize you, because with the same name, so many persons will exist. So in order to distinguish that, in order to give the clarity, so we are giving the ID to every person. So unique ID. So that ID will not given to anyone later or further. Okay. So ID. So this is an identifier. ID is the identifier as well as it is some attribute. Attribute is nothing but like some we can say attributes are nothing but like so for example, some person, I want to ask some person in your class, one person is absent. I don't know his ID number. He is a tall. He is having the blue color eyes. So that is attributes. Okay, attributes of that person. Like that, attributes of the car is make, model, ID. Okay, and next coming to the descriptive attributes. So descriptive is what is his body type. So so many cars that have the different body types. What is their color? And referential attributes. So who is the owner for that? Okay, so this car is a one data object. This data object has some attributes. So what are those attributes? These are the different types of attributes. Either a person or car, whatever it is. So it has some attributes and data attributes. Okay. So I think it is clear for you people. So data attributes define the properties of a data object and take one of the three differential characteristics. So what is the data attributes we are saying here? So data attributes define the properties of data object. So what are the properties? Okay, and take are one of the different characteristics. So they can be used to name an instance. Instance means at a particular time. Name an instance of data object. Describe the instance. Make reference to another instance in another table. So these are the data attributes. So data attributes can be defined in the three different characteristics. What are they? The first one is name an instance of the data object at particular time. What is the name of that object? So it is a car. Everyone, whatever the name for that car is, we can say that is a car. Whether it is a Maruti, or BMW or Audi or something else. Okay. So describe the instance. So at particular time, describe that. So what is its shape? So how many tires it have? What is the color of the car? Make reference to another instance in another table. So if you want to make a reference, for example, reference is nothing but what is the company name. Okay. So company name is okay. This is belong to that company, like that. So these are the data objects. So today's session, the summary for this today's session is, we have seen the example for the activity diagram. And next, swim lane activity diagram. And we have seen the what is a data model concept. And finally we have seen the what is the data object. So this is for today's session.